Z-Score, the formula is given here in the question, is equal to 1.2x1, 1.2x1 plus 1.4x2 plus 3.3x3 plus 0.6x4 plus 0.999x5. That is the formula for Z-Score. Then we have read in the same formula, candidates were given the values for this ratio. These are ratios. The first ratio we see is equal to net working capital over total assets. Okay? X1 is equal to net working capital over total assets. X2 is equal to retained earnings over total assets. X3 is equal to EBIT, operating profit, over total assets. X4 is equal to market value of equity divide book value of long-term debt plus preferred share capital. This formula is given in the question, but I said earlier, make sure you memorize the formula, because the next time the examiner may not give you the formula. So we'll then move to the question and check the inputs. We calculate these ratios, then we'll substitute the ratios in the main formula. We are going to substitute the ratios there. So candidate, the net working capital is current assets 100 million minus current liabilities 20 million. 100 million minus 20 million divide total assets 400 million. That will give us the X1. X2, retained earnings 120 million divide total assets 400 million. EBIT, earnings before interest and tax, 40 million. We divide total assets 400 million. Then X4, market value of equity. Market value of equity, we are going to get the number of shares. Then we multiply by the market value of shares. We read the firm's ordinary shares are currently trading at 15 shillings each. So we get the number of shares. The number of shares we read there, financed by ordinary shares, 10 shillings each, 100 million. So the number of shares will be 100 million. We divide by the par value of 10 shillings. 10 shillings. This will give us the number of shares, then we multiply 15 shillings. 15 shillings divide by the book value of long-term debt. Long-term debt is 80 million. Long-term debt, that is 10% debenture capital, 80 million. Preference share capital, 40 million plus 40 million. That's 40 million. The rest is the work of the machine. So I'll divide 80 million by 400 million. 80 million divide 400 million. X1 0.2, then X2 120 divide 400 0.3, X4 40 divide 400 0.1, X4 this is 10 million divide, that is 10 million times 15 divide 120 is equal to 1.25. So that is X4. Then there is X5. X5, we need to include X5. X5 is equal to sales over total assets. Sales over total assets. Sales, we have 400 million divide assets 400 million again. So 400 million divided by 400 million, this is equal to 1. It's equal to 1. Therefore, candidates, the Z-score will be equal to, we are going to substitute the ratios in the main formula. The Z-score will be equal to Z-score will be equal to 1.2. So 1.2 times x, 0.2 times 0.2. Then we add 1.4 x, x2, this 1.4 times 0.3 plus 3.3 times x3 0.1 plus 0.6 times x4 1.25 1.25. Then lastly 0.999 plus 0.999 times x5. Our x5 here is 1. So the answer here will be the Z-score. The Z-score. So I'm going to take 1.2 times 0.2 plus so the answer here is 3.739. So candidates, That is the answer to Roman 1, 5 marks. Roman 1, 5 marks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 marks.